What up, Samuel? Oh,
Hello, Parker.
you
Happy
didn't sound
Fortune
very
15
enthusiastic.
Thursday. Yeah, I'm enthusiastic. I'm ready to go. Let's film this episode so you can enjoy your trip to Puerto Rico.
It's going to be a fun time. By the way, are you sure that your sweatshirt's supposed to be tied like that? Is that how it came? Or
Yes.
is that like personal preference?
It's a decision I've made for myself, thanks to Christian Radden. So, yeah, it is.
Okay. So you've been influenced is what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. Well, an influencer I follow, goes by the name of Sahil Bloom, and he puts out a newsletter a couple times a week, Sam, and I think it made for the perfect conversation on this Fortitude in 15 Thursday. So how about it? Should we do it?
Give it to me. Let's go. Let's get elevated.
Have you read Will Smith's book, his biography?
I have.
You've read the whole thing?
I don't remember if I finished it or not, but I certainly read the story that we're going to talk about. So I'm excited to share it with Elevation Nation.
Yeah, so in the book, Will, I guess is it a biography? Autobiography. I guess it was written, autobiography, written actually with Mark Manson, the guy who wrote The Subtle Art of Don't Giving a Fuck, of not, The Subtle Art. So the book's really good, adds a little humor, but they talk about a story that Will Smith, when he was younger, that his dad asked him and his brother to build a 16 foot by 30 foot wall. And Will talks through this story of how he, at first, when his dad was asking him to do this, is like, you're crazy. How the hell are we going to be doing that? This is going to take forever. And little did they know their dad was teaching them a very valuable lesson. And the wall took over a year and a half to build. And I want to quote the book because Will says it so well of what he learned in that moment. You don't try to build a wall. You don't start by saying, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest wall that's ever been built. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. You do that every single day, and soon you have a wall. And Sam, man, this reminds me of something that you and I both live our lives by. Certainly our stacking method of how we've done and built not only our Elevation Nation, but how we've approached our career post-college. And so want to just give a shout out because that was special and it makes for a great Fortitude Thursday conversation. So right off the bat, what are your thoughts?
I absolutely love this story, Parker, and I think it's a great one for us to talk about because consistently in Elevation Nation, we've shared a concept with each other that we call stacking. And it's so similar to the lesson that Will Smith learned with building brick by brick that wall, the hardships when a brick falls out or a section collapses, but stacking and building that foundation. And to me, it's really helped us grow Elevation Nation, especially with having full-time jobs, right? Oftentimes, we have all these amazing ideas that we want to activate and execute on. When we first started off, it was an app for Elevation Nation. It was speaking gigs for Elevation Nation, coaching, podcast, all these different things. But we had to start with one. And we decided it was going to be our framework. It was going to be mental fortitude. Once we felt confident with that story, with that framework, was tried and true and tested, we said, how do we share mental fortitude and elevation with the world? How about the Elevation Nation podcast? We then stacked over 100 episodes before we ended up doing something new, which was let's solidify our Elevation Nation community. Let's stack that brick. From there, it was, well, how do we share this even broader than our podcast audience in a more intimate way? Let's do our first Elevation Nation workshop and speech for high school, college, and recent graduates. Then it became, how do we bring Elevation Nation together with our first in-person dinner? We're doing another one soon. and we keep on stacking. And that, I think, personally has helped us grow at a pace that's sustainable, that's doable, and allows us to still have our full-time jobs, still allow you to have ample time with JJ and with your friends and family and the relationships that you need to maintain, but also pushes us to continue to grow and stack brick by brick. And so I don't think I've ever been more excited than 2024 and the momentum and the bricks that we have for kind of a new venture that I'll keep on the down low for now, but the one that we've really been working hard on. I mean, God only knows we're juggling 1,000 things with this new venture, and it's just one more brick that we get to stack into the Elevation Nation world.
So I've been thinking about this, to your point, like what you've all said. I think those are pretty significant walls that have been built by very small bricks. I think of our bricks, Sam, as if we're talking about our stacking method, one podcast, one outline, one intro call, one cold DM. That's the small stuff, dude, that we've put time and effort into and have put 100% into. And that builds over time and gets us to now, to your point of being able to really stack to that next level. All those bricks help us get to that level, but the big stack is now, to your point, we got this new idea, this new venture that we're working on. That is made up of a lot of small decisions and small things. And so my main takeaway for Elevation Nation, and as we talk through this more, is that you just got to go and you got to go do. We have so many ideas in our head of things we want to do, of things we don't want to do, of things we're excited about, and things that we're scared of. Acknowledge those things. Acknowledge what you're fearful of. But if you're fearful of it and your gut's telling you have to do it, I would recommend pushing yourself to go and try to do that, even though it might not seem like the biggest thing or you'll have the biggest ROI on doing that thing. But man, the power of just doing and getting 1 foot forward, next thing you know, you'll be along the way. And that's something that's been really cool, Sam, when we talk with Elevators, is that they just got started. They just got going. They didn't have this brilliant idea. Maybe some did, knew exactly where they were going, but most just got going. And they said, you know what? I'm going to roll with the punches, and I'm going to be ready for everything that's going to come because I believe in me, and I believe in what I'm about. I'm inspired by that, dude.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of cliches you just shared there. So I want to boil it down to, I think, the main thing that you were talking about, which is just stack one thing on top of each other, right? You don't have to do the entire thing at once. One thing, small, bite size, baby steps, baby bricks, whatever you want to call them. Stack those on top of each other. I think that's the key takeaway.
Yeah, key takeaway. But I think it's also accepting that it's just going to take time. Like you're not going to get the benefit right there. Oftentimes we love the instant gratification. You know what I mean? We love that. That's the world we live in. And once you accept that you're putting that off because you know that it's going to come in the future, it's hard. But man, when those big stacks come, that next level, that elevating occurs, those feelings are pretty good, man. I really say.
Okay. I like it. I think it's a good lesson. I think to your point, we oftentimes look for instant gratification. And I think the wall analogy and the brick analogy is a perfect one, right? If you're building a wall, it's going to be a while until it's a full wall able to keep out whatever that wall is meant to do. And until then, it probably isn't going to be perfect. And things are still going to get through that wall. But that doesn't mean you're not making progress. And so oftentimes Parker and I have gotten certainly discouraged with Elevation Nation, our progress and our efforts, and not really seeing the full picture. But just knowing that we're adding one more brick to this wall of eventually where we're going to end up, at least makes me feel good. So hopefully you all can take those lessons and yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Do you think we should build an elevator instead of a wall?
No, too complex. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to do that. I'm good with a wall.
Sure?
It's simple. Yeah, I'm positive. Wall's solid for me. That's about all I can engineer.
It would be pretty crazy if like we quit our jobs and we're like, you know what, we're really going all in on this Elevation Nation idea. We're gonna build an actual elevator, kind of like
Sometimes
Willy
you have
Wonka.
these just crazy ideas.
Just
I don't
saying.
even know what you're talking about. It's obviously
Of course you
end of the
know.
week for Parker.
You know what we're talking about here.
No, I have no idea. Parker wants to build an elevator. That is the tangent that we have now gone on. So glad we're adding value to Elevation Nation to bring us back on track.
Okay, mister, I'm making a joke here. I know you're not the biggest comedian, but okay. We're talking about building walls. No, screw walls. We're in the business of elevating. So we got to build an elevator.
Fair enough. All right.
There you go.
We can build an elevator with some walls. I like it. I think it's those small wins that really matter. It's a great lesson. Stacking those bricks one by one. I like it. It's a good lesson. I don't love Will Smith, but it's a good story. I wonder if that actually happened or if he made that up.
Could have. I don't know. All right, Sam, let's go into it. We're keeping the tradition going. What's one thing that's elevating you this week?
Let's see. One thing that's elevating me this week is my family. Been a hard week for us, but just trying to lean on each other and support each other, and that's been really helpful for me is knowing I have family that is looking out for each other. So that's been really elevating for me this week. What about you?
I 100% think that my work team at my company, full-time job, they elevate me, especially this week. We have a bunch of things happening, and I just am especially grateful to work with incredible people who keep me elevated and sane and give me a new perspective on life because they push me outside of my comfort zone every single day.
I love it. What's something that de-elevated you this week, Parker, besides me shooting down your idea for us becoming elevator engineers?
Well, I'll be honest. Snoozing on my alarm. I've been in a bad habit of sleeping a little bit longer than I want in the fear that I'm almost like not going to get enough sleep if I don't sleep a little bit longer. But as a result, I'm not able to work out in the morning. And I know that my days when I'm not working out in the morning are very different than days when I do. And so the last week, I've really not been good at waking up and going to the gym or going for my run. And in a week that's been really busy, I think it's put a little bit more stress on myself. And so certainly I need to make a change. And so that's been de-elevating me this week for sure. What about you?
It's easy to slip, right? When we're super busy, we think the more sleep will help us when actually it's probably working out that'll help us more. I've been there, man, so I feel you. I'm optimistic that you'll be able to elevate and get back on track next week, especially as you travel and you get to run in warmer weather. I know how much you love that. So I'm excited to hear about you waking up early to go on runs. One thing that has de-elevated me this week has been notifications. There was a spell for about 30 to 45 minutes a couple times this week where I felt like I was getting a notification, text, phone call, or email every 20 seconds, and it was super overwhelming for me. And because I like to handle things and respond to everyone really quick and timely, it pissed me off. And I felt a lot of anxiety with that. And so figuring out how to either let those notifications sit and not have to respond quickly or even turn them off completely is something I want to work on because that was stressful and I didn't like it. That was my de-elevation of the week.
I was just going to say so many notifications because, you know, the S&P 500 hit all-time highs and you get all your friends hitting you up. Oh, my God, we're at all-time high. The economy's roaring right now. No,
none of those.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, man. Do you want to keep going? Or, I mean, our 15 minutes are up here. We usually give our elevator shout-outs, but I kind of like our new section. I really do.
I'm definitely still giving a shout-out. Just because we got a new section doesn't mean we're getting rid of an old one.
I
got my elevator shout-out. Elevator number 112. Vic Van Ness, founder of Amber Dating Club, that she hosts in New York City. They just successfully completed their singles Valentine's Day event, and it looked freaking sweet. I know Parker wishes that he could bring his fiance to those events because they are so cool and they have incredible humans at them. So check out Amber Club. Really cool events that Vic throws, and I'm proud of her. Ton of brand deals there. Way to go, Vic.
Love to hear it. All right. I'm going to go with our guy, Orly Israel, Elevator 114. Orly is the content king. He creates incredible content on Orly's listening table. He's traveling the country, putting up listening tables and listening to people share what's top of mind for them. But he just released a new podcast, Sam. So shout out Orly for releasing a new podcast, sharing his message in a new manner. And obviously you and I both know that we're both big fans of podcasts. And so I think it's really cool to see other people within Elevation Nation finding new ways to share their message, especially if they're doing it through the world of podcasting. So, Sam, the world keeps flowing. A lot of elevation to be had. Maybe I'll just sign up, become an elevator engineer after this call. Just saying.
Listen, we can start that company if you learn how to do it. But until then, I'm not putting anybody's life at risk. So take the stairs. Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.